you ever wondered why so few startups actually succeed or actually launch? And I don't know if you know, but well over 1 in 1,000 pre-seed startups become seeded, right? And I'm going to explain to you what that means, but ultimately there's something that I've spent the last couple months on working on, what I'm calling the law of diffusion of funding and innovation, and it's extrapolated from the law of diffusion of innovation. So what I'm saying is if the law of diffusion of innovation is true, then you can say the law of diffusion of funding and innovation is true. And that's an old philosophical argument, right? If one thing holds true, then another thing holds true. And ultimately, what this law does is defines on who funds, and it actually leads to something else, which I call the axiom of paradigm diffusion. The axiom of paradigm diffusion, and I'll talk about that too. So before we get going, let's talk about what Plato says is let's define terms, okay? Because without defining terms, ultimately we can't have a discussion. And I got to make sure that your idea of a startup is the same as mine. And I've spent a year developing this, and I know that I have a very clear understanding, and I want you to have a clear understanding too. The first thing we have to both agree is that success equals access to capital. And that's the first thing that if you don't agree in, we need to have a discussion on, because ultimately the current, and this is recognized in the field, and when they say, when it's success, well, it takes more than money, yes, but however, it takes a good team. To get a good team takes capital, right? Oh, but it takes market conditions. Yes, but to create the right market conditions, it'll take capital. So success is simplified as success equals access to capital. And you could say that this has been the paradigm for the last 5,000 years. It's basically how, business as usual. And I'm going to also show this in the next slide. But also, let's talk about the different stages. Because it all deals with capital, that's the reason why I call it pre-seed, seed, and seeded. You could think of it as the innovation stage of a startup, right? It's the pre-seed innovation. You're trying to get the prototype, you're trying to assemble the team, you're trying to get it going, right? That innovation. The next stage is the early stage. You've got some funding and everything else, right? I don't like to use early because usually early startups refer to actually the next stage, which is seeded, right? And you could think of this as the late. So innovation, seed, and late. And if you know, you can see the start of this parabola right here. There you see it, right? It's coming into the late stage. It's coming into the early stage, and it's coming into the innovation stage. So this is the innovation stage. So these terms here actually fit with this chart, with what's known as, the diffusion, the law of diffusion of innovation. So these names actually fit good. The seed fits good. It's kind of complete. So over the last 10 years, here's some evidence that this is true. Over the last 10 years, only around 700,000 companies launch the U.S. each year. That's it. In the last 10 years, even though we've got all of the hype from Global Entrepreneur Week, we got all the hype from Startup Weekend, we got everyone launching and their mothers launching incubators around the United States, but still, this number holds true. And ultimately, a startup is defined as a legal entity. If you look in the dictionary, or if you look at the, how basically it's officially defined, it's a legal entity, it's a company. So the number of companies launched is the number of startups, most likely. Okay. Now, why is this? Why? Well, let's explain it. Ideas are easy, companies are expensive, right? Anyone come up with an idea, turning that idea into a company is extremely expensive. Well, the first thing, and I've talked about this, is all this hype, all it's doing is creating more failure. So all of this effort, and I've got these I've got these kind of videos that are, that point to this, but all this effort from the Hewlett-Packard, all these different organizations pushing startups, just creating more failures. Why? Because of the endemic problem of the startup. There is a funding bottleneck. It takes a lot of money. Let's talk about that. If I wanted to get the global trademark for Foundups, you know how much it would cost me? About $100,000. If I wanted to, to patent all the patents that I wanted to do, fully patent the patents that I want to do, what I wanted to do, and I finally just gave up, would cost me around $50,000. Okay, my patents are extensive. The type of lawyers that I needed was extensive. The kind of monies I needed was extensive. I don't have access to capital, right? I'm just a poor teacher living in rural Japan. And finally, again, success equals access to capital. This is the paradigm that I'm trying to break. I'm trying to break the back of this axiom, all right? Axiom meaning it is true. We all know this is true. So the more innovative your idea is, the harder it is to fund, all right? And I'm going to explain that. Basically, here are some examples. I mean, Steve Jobs, friend from Intel, did the leap of faith investment to get Apple going. Steve was just a kid, all right? No one wanted to invest in a kid, all right? Not only that, did you know that before he finally got funding, he offered the idea to not only to Hewlett-Packard, but also to Atari, and they both turned him down. They didn't see the paradigm. His innovative PC for everyone paradigm was not, was an innovative stage paradigm. It didn't exist. They couldn't see it. Wikipedia couldn't find investors, right? Why? Because it was crazy. MS Encarta was founded in 1994, had been heavily funded, one of the most heavily funded projects. It was professionally developed, and no VC in the right mind would put their ideas on an encyclopedia that was going to be written by plumbers, right? Or whatever, right? It just, no one thought it was going to happen. Well, everyone will tell you, if Wikipedia had have launched in 2000 as a public company, its IPO today would be bigger. There's more pages on Wikipedia than there are, for example, on Facebook. Wikipedia could have become a Facebook. There's so many things you could have done with Wikipedia. It could have become Facebook today. But the bottom line is, no one could see the innovative stage paradigm except for Jimmy Wales, and he had to turn it into a nonprofit in order to succeed. Did you know Sun basically invested, made the leap of faith, and he even said, I have no idea how we're going to make money with this, but I like it. And prior to that, Google offered Yahoo the opportunity to buy it, right, for $1 million, but they didn't see it. So ultimately, if you don't see the paradigm, if you're not in the paradigm, you're not going to do it. And the irony now is, look, Google's looking to buy Yahoo. It's kind of funny. Like I said, you can only see the paradigm that you are in. All right? And the more innovative, the more transformative innovative the idea is, the harder it is for people to see. So let's talk about that. The law of paradigm diffusion, or what I'm now calling the axiom of paradigm diffusion. Pretty much you've got to think of who's where. From this point of view is the investor. The VCs are on this end. Never. I'll never invest. Where are you? You're actually on this side. Okay, so I've kind of flipped the order. I found someone who did this. I moshed this up. I added some more data to it. I don't know who originally did this little scrap data, but it's a nice little diagram. I've added some things on top of it. So most institutional, here's your institutional, innovation gatekeepers, incubators, accelerators, so on, are right here. 84% based on this, again, this law, right, this axial paradigm diffusion, which is based on the law of diffusion of innovation, are going to be in this stage, right, this line right here over here. The angel investors, the Dave McClures of the world, okay, are going to be in this stage right here, all right? This is why if you can get one of these, then great. The problem is that most innovative, for example, open startups, eSingularity, open corporations, beekeeping world, all right? These are my startups, okay? I would say these are all at the innovation. Well, things like Beekeeping World are probably pretty easier to sell because beekeeping exists, right? But the kind of way that I'm launching it is different. This also applies to ideas like global warming, right? Global warming paradigm took 40 years. Not only that, the end of growth paradigm has taken 40 years. And actually, the end of growth paradigm, what's really cool about the end of growth paradigm is that it's right here. And you could click on this and watch this video. And I guarantee if you're going to think, never, maybe, this is it, looks okay, right? This is your paradigm. How you respond to this video right here by watching this video, I can illustrate this axiom. Because I guarantee if you watch 3 more videos after this video, right, which is in the playlist, watch Dennis Meadows talks, all right? And he basically doesn't talk about the end of growth. He actually talks about the science behind it. I guarantee that you're going to move from never or what's the use? I don't see. I disagree. What's the use is I disagree, right? to a maybe to looks good, right? And I've already been testing this, and I know it's true. So you have to understand that the further that you're, transformative innovations, think of this: Jobs, Apple, right? Software, Microsoft, the idea of software. Why would IBM, which was here, they were an institution, right? They were here, give, Microsoft the license? Microsoft didn't even own the software, and they sold it to IBM, right? They sold stuff they didn't even own, then ran around, took the $40,000 and bought it, and then they were able to launch Microsoft because of the licensing, right, of the software. That's how Microsoft got going. They were lucky, right? Same thing with Apple and everything else. So this is very important here. The angels, show me the business plan, right? Why do angels want you to show them a business plan? Why do people in this stage, or even this stage maybe, show me a business plan, show me a business plan? Let's talk about that. Well, basically, there are a number of reasons why they're interested. And again, remember, their interest, the closer they are to the idea, you could say that they're only interested, and they'll only invest in ideas that exist in their paradigm. Okay, number one. So if you're going for investments from institutions or even incubators and anything else, if you're lucky enough that the person looking is in your paradigm, you may get an investment, right? The closer they are to the paradigm, the more interested they're going to be in it, right? And there's plenty of events, they want to say, show me a business plan. Oh, they're going to act excited. They're going to be excited. But you have to say, why are they excited? And I'll explain to you why they're excited. And they're going to want to learn more about it the closer you are, right? And I'll explain why. Here is why. Why do investors won't sign an NDA, right? And they won't sign an NDA, number one, is they want to know whether your idea is going to affect their existing investment, right? Will the idea affect an existing investment? Right? Well, they have a stake. They're probably investing in something close to your paradigm, right? They have money riding on it. So if all of a sudden you're going to disrupt that, they want to know that, right? The second thing is, it's again deals with self-preservation. Will the idea improve an existing investment of mine, right? I put money here. Can I bring the knowledge that you possess over to this idea and improve its success? Again, it has nothing to do with investing your idea. Third, will your idea improve the chance of success of an investment of mine, right? And I haven't finished this. I need to finish the sentence. Will the idea improve the success of an investment of mine? It should be here, right? I'll fix that with an annotation. All right. And finally, does the startup have the requirements to succeed, right? And again, the requirements, right? You're going to look at the right team, the right access to the market conditions. So, and again, the problem going on with SoCap right now, the social capital is having a really rough time raising money, is because all their ideas are what? Innovative stage. There's no market for them. So people don't want to put money where there is no market, even though the market conditions exist, which require a leap of faith, potentially they don't currently exist. So the three primary reasons why an investor wants to not sign an NDA and wants to see your business plan is self-preservation, right? Finally, once those things are met, and this is why, for example, you don't want to put your idea on Angel List or anything else out there, because ultimately that's what Angel List is all about, self-preservation. And then finally, and everyone knows angel investors invest in who they know. Most angel groups are going to say, I want a referral. They want a referral, right? They have a lot at stake. They have a lot of money riding. They don't want it to be disrupted, and they want to be sure that what they're investing in is actually going to be a great deal. Well, the good news is this, is the open startup will change this. Thanks for watching. Now if we could just figure out how to stop